We are in week 3 of the NFL season. There's a lot of discussion about who is a contender and who is a pretender right now. Now, New York Post NFL reporter Ryan Dunleavy puts out his weekly NFL rankings, and this week he is one of the local teams in the top 10 and the other local team nowhere near that. So let's discuss the rankings with Ryan Dunleavy, who joins us now. Ryan, how you doing?
Good. I got the other one in the top 32.
You do. You did get him in the top 32, which is your job because they can't be out of that. So you did get him there. We'll get to that team in a second. But let's start with the local team that you have in the top 10. That is the Jets. They're coming off their road win over the Titans. Were you impressed with what Gang Green did on Sunday bouncing back? And do you think they are a team that can stay in the top 10 going forward?
Yes. I mean, I picked them to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC when the season started. I don't know that I would double down on that right now. That was a much-needed victory against the Titans. That was one of those I don't need your style points victories. They just needed to win. They just needed like this Aaron Rodgers 2-year hype to like actually produce something. And they got a win on the road. They had their quarterback that everybody's buzzing about, drive them to there was confidence he would drive them to a winning score late in the fourth quarter. He did. There hasn't been that feeling around the Jets in 7 to 12 years. So, I think it was very important that they beat a Titans team that's not very good, and they have a chance here to beat up on the Patriots and then the next week and be 3-1. So I think all is right now for the Jets. I think they're a team that'll hang around 6 to 10 probably all year in the power rankings.
All right. Optimistic around the Jets in these power rankings. Now let's go to the other New York football team that you had at 31st. Yes, you did get him in the top 32. That would be the New York Giants. So I guess the question around the G-Men is, if they couldn't beat the Commanders, which a lot of Giants fans were confident they would, are they really one of the worst teams in football?
Yeah, they're one of the worst teams in football. They play the Panthers in Germany this year in November. That could decide who is the worst team in football, actually. So, and the Panthers just made a quarterback change to Andy Dalton, so we have no idea what they're going to look like this week, let alone in November. Look, the Commanders are terrible. I was at that game. They're undisciplined, they're not talented, and they beat the Giants. So whoever lost that game probably would have been 31 on my power rankings. I think the Commanders are 27. So that was a game of two bad teams. The Commanders won it. There's not really much argument for the Giants, who are 0-2, didn't score a touchdown in the first game and then didn't get a defensive stop in the second game. I'm not sure what they do well, so I don't know how I could put them above 31.
Yikes, rough time for the fans of Big Blue right now in terms of the power rankings. All right, I want to talk to you about some 2-0 teams. From 10 to 14 in your power rankings, you got the following teams ranked in this order: the Steelers, the Vikings, the Chargers, the Saints, and the Seahawks. Which of these teams do you believe are legit playoff contenders and can eventually crack the top 10?
It's crazy because I didn't really have any of those teams anywhere near there when we started this before the preseason. It's really shaking things up, right? Like, if you told me those teams were going to be ahead of the Ravens in 2 weeks into the season or nipping at the heels of the Lions, I would have been very surprised. It's been a strange start to the season where, especially week 2, was full of crazy upsets, right? So of those teams you mentioned, look, the Steelers play in the hardest division, but they have a lot of things. I mean, they have the head coach. They have a dominant defense. They have great kicker. They're going to win most close games that they're in. So I would tell you they're legit, even though I don't think they're a really super talented roster. They know how to win games the way that we were just talking about how the Giants figure out how to lose games. So I'd tell you they're a legitimate playoff contender. I'd tell you the Saints are a legitimate playoff contender because the division is not very good. So So I would tell you that they have a chance, especially if the Falcons are going to sputter. And I would tell you that the Seahawks are always around there. They're always, basically a 9-8 team. So they'll be in the wild card hunt.
All right, some good answers there, like the first team that you mentioned there. Well, just follow up on there. How are you feeling about the Vikings? Are you buying the Sam Darnold experience and the Vikings defense? How are you feeling about that team?
I think the Vikings are going to be much better than I thought they were going to be, much better than most people thought they were going to be. Let's see how long Jordan Love's out and what kind of opening there is in the NFC North. Obviously, the Lions are the cream of the crop. The Bears look worse than everybody thought. The Vikings look a little better. I'm not sure I'm buying into Sam Darnold as like a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, but sometimes quarterbacks find the right offensive system, and Kevin O'Connell might be the kind of guru that gets Sam Darnold going. I think they're going to be a team that's in the wild card hunt. If I had to guess, I say they miss out. They're probably like an 8-win team.
All right, not bad for Minnesota there. Sam Darnold playing well, and the Vikings as well, too. Last thing for me, Ryan, the Bucs, they're 2-0. You have them ranked 5th right now. They're coming off a good win over the Lions. Are you buying what we're seeing from Baker Mayfield down in Tampa right now?
Yeah, they're my biggest surprise to the NFL. I don't think I had them anywhere near. I think I had them 14 just last week, and I was like, you know what, this team's too good. I mean, like, I'm too impressed with them. They are, my colleague Brian Costello gets the credit here. I'll tip my cap to him. He picked them as his NFC winner to go to the Super Bowl. I kind of scoffed at him. I might even sent him a text and said, "What are you doing?" But he looks brilliant. Baker Mayfield is winning. Todd Bowles is coaching winning football. They just got a playoff revenge win in Detroit. Baker threw 4 touchdowns in week 1. That might be a renaissance pairing there. Godwin and Evans are still producing for what feels like a decade now for those two. So, yeah, I'm buying the Bucs. I think they're a legitimate I would put them as the NFC South favorite at this point.
All right, buying the Bucs. Very interesting. It's only 2 weeks, folks, of these power rankings. A lot of teams, some fans think they're good. Some fans think their team is not as bad as they've shown. Well, we will see. Truth will be revealed over the next couple of weeks. So please check out Ryan Dunleavy's power rankings at NewYorkPost.com. Ryan, always a pleasure breaking down these power rankings with you. We will talk soon, my friend.
Thanks, Dex.